For today's video I'm doing a collaboration with 4 other amazing YouTubers, and I've linked their video down in the description box, but if you wait till the end of the video I'll have clickable links, so once you're done watching this video you can go and watch theirs. The first thing I'm going to do is cover my eyebrows. I'm going to be using the glue stick method, but something which helps protect your hairs from getting completely wrecked when you take the glue stick off later is to just run soap through your eyebrows first. Now I know that sounds weird, but you want to wet a little bit of soap, run that through your brows and then go over it with a glue stick. And it's going to create a little bit of a protective film over your eyebrows and stop them from getting pulled out and a little bit disheveled. I'm going to flatten them out with a sculpting tool. And once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and apply BB cream. I'm going to do a light dusting of BB cream over my eyebrows, but once I've done that, I'm going to go over with a much thicker concealer, which is slightly paler than my own skin tone, and just cover my brows a little bit. I've already put on the modified scarecrow teeth, which is why I'm making a little bit of a funny face, because they do take up a lot of room in your mouth, so you end up making a little bit of a funny expression the whole time. But the next thing I'm going to do is just take some brown eyeshadow, and I'm going to be doing some quite extreme contouring. It's going to start out with just a line, and then I'm going to blend it out like crazy so it's a little less noticeable. Now for the eyes I'm going to start off with primer, and then using the exact same shade of brown that I've been using to contour, I'm going to start off just underneath the brows, bring that around into the crease, and then underneath the eye. After you've done the eyes, we're going to move on to the nose, and this part is probably going to drive you a little crazy because we're going to be using scar wax, and you really want to try and use tools other than your fingers because it sticks to anything that's remotely warm, so things like your fingers are going to cause problems. If you can, try and cut out a small rectangular shape first. It's going to be a lot easier if you do it this way. You're going to press that at the very tip of your nose, and then you're going to try and blend it so that it creates a little bit of a point. And this is going to take a while. Once you've got it stuck down your nose, try and use the sculpting tool instead to clean everything up. And you can use your fingers if you're just trying to run it over very quickly to smooth everything over, but otherwise stick to using the sculpting tool. Underneath the nose I'm going to add a little bit of brown eyeshadow, and don't try and blend, you're going to have to dabble it onto the scar wax, otherwise it's going to stick to the bristles and you really don't want that. Down the very tip of my nose I'm going to add a very pale highlight, and I'm going to be using the same concealer that I used for my eyebrows, and yes, I know I'm pulling a funny face, you kind of need to for this look. Over my eyelids I'm going to be using a baked blush as an eyeshadow, and I'm going to keep this just on my lids and then blend it into the brown shadow that I've applied in the crease. I'm also going to put a tiny bit of that colour on the lower lid. I'm also going to add some to the very end of my nose, and then a tiny little bit on the cupid's bow, and you are going to have to pull a little bit of a duck face for this, just to get it right on the edge of your lips. Next I'm going to be going for a bit of a wasp pattern down the centre of my face. I'm going to be using a variety of brushes here. I'm going to be using a thin art brush just to draw out the lines, a flat square shaped brush, and then afterwards a blending brush just to soften out the edges. And we want to try and work this into the shape of the face. So this curve is going to go around underneath the brows, and you're going to start working that towards the crease on the eyes. To get the edges to taper out, you can either use a brush or your fingers. The finger trick works very well. You just want to bring the colour as far out as you want and then run your fingers over it, and you'll get a really nice subtle gradient. And now on my forehead, what you want to do is start off with a dot. Blend it out a little bit with a brush, but then take your fingers and run it over the edge just to make that gradient even smoother. One thing I did change my mind about halfway through is I wanted to remove the black line in the middle of my nose so that it kind of mimicked my eyes once I had the lenses in. So I got rid of the black and then replaced it with a little bit of the same concealer that I used to fill in my eyebrows. And then I re-outlined the outside. And what you're also going to do is you're going to bring that colour underneath your nose as well, and you're going to create a little bit of a dip which is going to go down towards your cupid's bow. With a mixture of the brown that I used earlier and then a tiny little bit of black, you're going to bring that around the nose and then create a C shape which is going to lead into the scar wax that I used on the very tip of my nose. Once I've done that, I'm going to move on to the chin, and we're going to do a line which is going to go straight from the bottom lip all the way down to the chin, and you want to do 3 lines on either side which lead out. And you can use a very thin art brush for this, or you can use a very small angled brush, whichever one you prefer. But again, I'm going to be blending out the very edges with my fingers. For my eyes, I'm going to be doing some very rough eyeliner work. I'm going to be using a small blending brush, and I'm just going to run a black eyeshadow as close to the lashes as possible. Then on the outer corner, I'm going to bring that up into the crease and then blend it out. With whatever's left on the very end of that brush, I'm going to add a little bit more black to the very tip of my nose underneath the scar wax, and then a little bit of yellow to the inner corner of my eyes. Before I apply any makeup on the waterline, I'm going to put on my lenses first, and then I'm going to take a white eyeliner and I'm just going to keep this to the centre of my waterline, and then I'm going to run it through the corner of my eyebrows and then through my lashes as well, so that the lashes on the centre of my eyes are going to pick up the colour, but the rest of my lashes I'm going to leave pretty bare. Now obviously I've already applied some false lashes, and I used a mixture of 2 lashes here. I used some winged sugar pill lashes and then some really beautiful feather lashes as well. I'm also going to add some horns just to make it a little bit more foresty, and then to finish off I'm going to add some fake blood. Now you can use fake blood, which is definitely advisable, because depending on certain fake teeth, using food colouring like I did can stain them, and as you can probably see later on, one of them stayed the normal colour, the other didn't really. So if you can, try and get fake blood which is okay for you to ingest, because you are inevitably going to ingest some of this if it's in your mouth. But other than that, you're done.